We walk, we run, we cheer with our arms up. Ever wonder how? The control of skeletal muscles. That is what we will be talking about today. First, we have the brain, consisting of millions of neurons that work together for all sorts of things, which includes the control of movement. But on its own, it can't do everything, so it has a little help from cells called motor neurons. They act as communicators. These cells make sure that the instruction coming from the brain get delivered to the skeletal muscles. They carry out instructions by contracting or remaining relaxed, which enables us to move. Let's say you go to your grandmother's home and she brings out a surprise for you. You open it up and you see a cute white kitten. You reach in to grab it. How? You would reach in, grab hold of the kitten, and lift it from the box using skeletal muscles. This is where your brain, motor neurons, and muscles come into play. Your brain sends signals through the spine into the muscle as seen in figure 1.1. The spinal neuron extending into the muscle connecting to a group of muscle fibers innervating them is called a motor unit. The instructions from the brain travel in the neuron as electrical messages known as action potential. These messages get transferred from the presynaptic neuron to postsynaptic neuron at the synapse as seen in figure 1.2. This is possible with the release of a neurotransmitter, a chemical called acetylcholine. As shown in figure 2, there are tiny proteins on the receiving neuron that react to it and initiate an action potential in the postsynaptic neuron. Now let's talk about the neuromuscular junction. Like the roots of a tree in the soil, it extends into the muscles and innervates a group of muscle fiber as seen in figure 3.1. Figure 3.2 shows the place where the end of the neuron connects to the muscle fiber, which is known as the neuromuscular junction. At this junction, acetylcholine is released when an action potential arrives. The acetylcholine attaches to the protein, initiating a series of reactions in the muscle fiber that causes it to shorten. Now let's go see what exactly causes the fiber to shorten. Figure 4 shows the inner structure of a muscle fiber. After the acetylcholine attaches to the receptors, it causes the release of calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which is wrapped around the sarcomere. The calcium ion allows the protein heads on the thick myosin filament to interact with the thin actin filament. The myosin head stretches, attaches, pulls, releases, and repeats. This causes the Z-line to come closer together as seen in figure 4.1. Figure 5 shows when the fibers shorten, the whole muscle shortens, and this is known as a muscle contraction. This is what allows us to move. Remember, muscles can only contract, they cannot extend. So, how do we straighten a bent arm or vice versa? Remember, to move, our muscles need to be attached to the bones, and no one muscle is attached to the same bone. Usually, this is attached to two different bones over a joint. To lift that kitten up, the arm needs to bend at the elbow. So figure 6 shows that the bicep muscle will contract, pulling the forearm upwards by rotation at the elbow joint. The tricep muscle will remain relaxed and will be extended as the arm bends. The contraction and relaxation happen in a very controlled manner to make sure that the kitten isn't jerked around. And it is because of the bicep muscle that the tricep muscle gets extended. Your grandmother then asks you to crush the can of soda that you just had. So, with the same hand you gently held the kitten, you now crush the aluminum can, bending it out of shape. How did you hold the kitten and not crush it like the can? Degrees of strength. The answer is simple. The more the motor units are used, the bigger the muscle fiber recruited, the more the strength of the contraction. Crushing a can equals to more motor units, which equals to more strength, while holding a kitten equals to less motor units, which equals to less strength. Damage to the nerves or muscle can cause paralysis. Other neurological or muscular issues may also contribute to handicap. Let's recap. The brain communicates with the muscles via the motor neuron cells. The spinal neuron and a group of muscle fibers that are innervated by the said neuron is known as a motor unit. The electrical signals convert to chemical signals at the synapse and neuromuscular junction. The sarcoplasmic reticulum releases calcium ions and, with the use of ATP, allows the myosin head to attach, pull, release, and repeat on the actin filament, shortening the muscle fiber. Shortening muscle fiber leads to muscle contraction. Contraction of a muscle leads to movement, example arm flexing. Contraction strength depends on how many motor units are recruited. And that is how our brain controls our skeletal muscles. Thank you.